the name of it?
Coffee Candy.
Light Sport. So that's it's kind of a interesting group.
Coffee Candy.
I'll take it. I like coffee.
We have Linux news now and mixed topics.
Thank you, sir.
We have a cheat.
Jim doesn't like it.
This is yummy.
Coffee.
Oh, okay.
Yummy stuff.
Also, if you like to do projects, we promote people publishing projects for easy for beginners and things like that. We have links to cloud folders. You can have your own folders. You can do projects if you want to do.
I don't know if there's going to be any difference, but we could try it.
Arduino stuff.
I tightened all that up.
Yeah, but this is a different
No, that's me.
It may be better.
sections. Rounding will be better.
Fortran 4 and Fortran 77. I started with 77. Max VMS. Ever heard of VMS?
Yeah, I've certainly heard of it. We were on old Univac 1107.
Whoa! Okay.
Maybe I'm giving away a little too much information.
Yeah. But we touch cards. That we're punch cards. You're dated already.
We know about you and punch cards.
Oh yeah. I was doing that stuff in high school.
If you want to see what we've been doing, we got a link to club participation notes. You can go down there and it lists topics that we've done for the past year or so. And the individual links to project members. There's Jim's corner. Leroy's got a corner with a bunch of stuff.
It's
And
the same, right?
Frank's got his stuff there. You go through and see what people have been doing. Yeah. Also, there's the GitHub link down there. Right, so you click, you can get to GitHub and see it's there.
You will notice the difference in a very high quality.
We've been fighting video to get our video quality up.
Yeah,
you want to try that?
Room, and we stopped using that projector.
You want to try that?
Video quality.
Okay.
So we generally bring
Let's just leave it.
Back wall.
We're getting there.
Yeah, he's been working on this.
Yeah. We're
Do you use
getting
Let's
this
just-
ring?
This should be a better
And you
cable
get the
anyway,
poor
just
quality
because
of it.
it's.
We tried that once, and we've got some mature members in the club. They had trouble seeing it at that size.
We have some mature members, and some of us are just blind anyway. So we got some of those too. So you guys talk about dollar cost averaging and all that kind of stuff. Yep. S&P 500.
Sure. Did you ever hear of better investing?
No. Some people promote certain things with us. I'm a dollar cost
Use this for
average S&P
presentation of
500.
the tiny basic stuff.
Small cap, large caps, mid cap, diversified, and
You generally, are you in ETFs or
no,
individually?
no. If I'm Vanguard's cheap enough for me.
Yeah, Vanguard's fine.
So yeah, so we do some of that, and we're not going to spend all day following it. So we're casual participants.
Is it the Russell 2000?
Russell 2000. That's a
Yeah.
small cap. Yeah.
There's a number of indexes. My wife got involved in this club maybe 20 years ago, and the next thing you know, she and a few other people formed a model investment club, which is a group that meets here, and it's open to the public. Anybody who wants to come in and see what better investing is all about. And then we started a family club with our kids.
Yeah.
Things are changing.
My brother's been in an investment club for 20-some years. It's to family and friends. There was that ladies group out of Pennsylvania or whatever.
That's the one that started it, or the one that had the greatest notoriety.
Yeah. But after further research, they weren't as lucrative as what because of how they didn't understand, they didn't deceive intentionally, but.
Right. What we found is that a lot of clubs may not even do as well as the S&P 500, but they certainly learn about stocks.
Yeah.
what makes companies tick and how to follow individual issues. You know, and a lot of them are everyday names.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've been fighting this video resolution thing, and Leroy convinced me it's not. We don't need component. Component is not really supported by that. It may be supported by that, but it's probably composite. But we need something to upscale.
Does that have HDMI?
Sir?
Does that have HDMI?
What we're actually trying to do is record the cast back into the computer.
Okay.
So we having to convert the HDMI to something that we can import into the computer, and it works, but it's not great. And we end up with resolutions like that.
Yeah. Now I notice part of yours is off the edges.
Well,
Yeah, that's
it's just blurry and it's hard to read, and even when I go back and watch the video, it's blurry and hard to read. So
I can pick out yellow with a little bit of blue and green in there, but that's about it.
it's
If
not
you close it up
optimal.
like 5 times, you can see some of it clarifies.
Works, actually. But yeah, that's our issue. And this is better than what it was. We were using cameras, and this is actually better than just cameras.
See, if you blow it up a lot, you can read it, but then trying to actually show the entire screen is the issue.
Yeah,
Right.
you can see a little.
And for us, usually what we're trying to
I
see
will look
is
for a better
Yeah,
converter.
it's just
Better converter HDMI to
So
So,
up
yeah,
and down.
we're trying to resolve this.
Jim may actually have a better solution at his house that he's using at his house now, and he's going to try his Chromecast with that device and see if it actually is better. And then we'll
Is that
go
the
from
Rabbit
there.
device?
The Rabbit device, yes. So
Yeah.
we gotta make Jim a big note that says test the Rabbit with Chromecast.
Or a small note, but a lot of them.
Yeah.
But we got to figure out what they're doing. If they're, because this is like a $79, $89 Rapid. There's nothing in it. It's not expensive. It's a transmitter and receiver, and
It's got to be doing some sort of scaling.
So whatever it's doing is cheap. It's not that expensive. So we got to crack it. And
So you just bring a projector and use that wall.
Yeah, we actually have, we use the speaker in the projector. I don't recall what brand it is, Sharp maybe or something like that. And then we've got a microphone, USB mic that we put on the table.
Okay. It might be an option. There might be something to that, but we would have to go back to cameras.
well, what I think we should do now is go to Amazon and search for composite and find somebody that claims 1080p
I don't think you're
output.
gonna find that on composite, right?
There,
Composite.
you
Well,
you
I've
can
got it at home. I do it.
Okay.
So
there you it's basically you trick it and you're scaling it. It converts it to one thing and then it scales it back to something else. It keeps it in the 480 window, but it makes it look like it's better than it really is. And it's a trick to your eye and it's a trick to everything, but that's the only way to do it.
For our company, we go straight for,
Yeah.
we try to get the HDMI immediately, either that or
Well,
what the other one.
there are some devices. We're on the cheaper side. We try to do things as cheap as we can. There are some devices that will actually do HDMI and let you record the HDMI to the computer, but they're in the $200 plus range of
Yeah.
things, and it's just expensive for this.
Right.
We're not doing anything fancy dancy that we actually needed. It's nice to be able to go back and look to see what we were doing, but it's not something that has to be done. If that makes sense. It's certainly not money. It certainly doesn't need to be money.
Well, I happen to be in a group that develops things for shows, you know, things that aren't even, they're not even a development project yet. It's more like, hey, let's try this out on the public, see what they think of it. And so, you know, they tend to be less sensitive to cost, let's put it that
Yeah,
way.
yeah.
You're on the frontier, pioneer.
Yeah. Yeah. And probably, you know, 1 out of 8 or 10 things that we work on might end up getting to be a product over a period of time.
The only problem doing what we do sometimes is we end up spending more money trying smaller things
Yeah.
that don't work instead of just sucking it up and spending the big money in the first place.
Well,
Because
you know,
we're cheap. Go ahead.
Because
you
we're
can say it,
cheap.
you can say
The
it.
cost of all of this stuff is coming down.
Yeah.
So the standards are moving towards the more sophisticated stuff.
Yeah.
And if you go to AliExpress or something like that, you can usually find some halfway decent stuff for
Well,
a lot of money.
what I'm talking about was the AliExpress prices.
Okay.
You don't
Oh,
want to
you
know
did
what
there.
you don't want to know what they really
Right,
wanted.
Right.
Because I am cheap and I do look for the better price.
He's not cheap, he's frugal.
I'm frugal. We did find a couple on eBay for 150, but that was still a lot of money.
Okay, here we go. You guys are not seeing this. So
No,
we'll
we're
have
not
to-
seeing nothing.
We'll have to drop the cast.
We need to change that.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's a good idea, but it's just not working right.
Now, you prefer to record the meetings as full-blown video, right?
Yeah.
Well, I was just trying to ascertain that, because our club records the meetings, but generally they're gonna be, let's say PowerPoint presentations or, you know, individual PDFs that people are putting up, so we record the audio,
Right.
but we don't try to record live video.
Right.
You just put the presentations
Yeah.
online.
In fact, the guy that heads up the whole thing is located in Indiana, because his wife has mobility issues, so he's really the organizer of the presentation,
Yeah.
and various other people introduce that.
Well,
There's a scaler, the word upscale, first time we've seen that. Cause it's gotta be upscaling.
to 1080p.
Scalar 1080p.
But that is,
We need the opposite.
you need the opposite. That's input
Oh,
is
okay.
composite, output is HDMI. So you need a downscaler or something.
Over sideways
Um,
scaler.
So I know when Jeremy does some of his projects, he does do it's not PowerPoint, it's you've just got notes.
Yeah.
Usually. Some of my a lot of my projects I've documented and I've published the documents, but I don't necessarily show that. I might show a video of what I'm doing or something else. So it's kind of hit or miss whether or not you get that kind of presentation. And in my mind, it was just, we actually started off a lot easier just with a webcam and just recording the meeting, and if there was something on the TV, you would get the audio, but you really wouldn't get the video. And then we came up with the idea that we might actually want to preserve the video, because there have been a few things that were good. So that's kind of my take on it. Frank usually has some sort of PowerPoint or some sort of
Yeah.
actual presentation. But most of us don't. Most of us show our thing and go from there.
This is what I despise about Amazon. I put 1080p and it picks up stuff that doesn't show 1080p.
Yeah, throws a bunch of crap in there.
And that's very irritating.
It's not related. Or fringely related.
Or if you do
Like-
HDMI to composite and you put it in quotes, you would expect that it would find only that string. Now it's
It's a YouTube post. YouTube is 7 best.
Mhm.
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 got an Arduino plug-in while I wasn't looking.
Do what?
Apparently VS Code's got an Arduino plug-in while I wasn't looking.
VS
Those
Code,
are
what's
cheap.
VS Code?
It's,
What's that?
it's Microsoft Smooth. I guess not really Visual
Visual
Studio, but like their other Visual Studio thing. It's more of an editor.
So Google is, I saw that Google was trying to come up with a new OS that's not Linux. You didn't see that. Because of the problem with Java. You guys realize the problem with Java and Google, and who's the holder of Java now?
Oracle.
Yeah, Oracle got a suit against Google.
It's not specifically for that, because the Oracle thing only applies when like, it only applies to builds before, what was it? I'm trying to remember when they actually switched the engine.
Yeah,
I think it was like version, was it KitKat before?
sounds right.
Yeah, it was KitKat before. I think they're actually, like, it seems they're developing it more for like, what are they making it for? Actually, we're not sure what they're making it for yet.
Well, some of the news article I was reading today said they're developing that new one in case they run into trouble with supporting Java. They ain't
That
Java
could be a
specific.
possibility.
And
This is good.
it's, they call it
What's
not
HDMI?
That one looks cheap like ours.
Linux specifically.
You be
Okay.
saying Chrome's kinda gone away?
Yeah, we're
Yeah,
using
this
a
is what
little.
Leroy said.
I saw in
It's got,
Traders World.
they're going away from
Well,
Linux
this
to
weekend
Chrome.
was,
Uh,
there are 4 of them, but with
That's what he told me 2 weeks ago.
out.
Well, it sounds like
Instead
it
of
may be this other thing too.
RCA.
They may take
No,
that
three.
with it.
but, and that's a problem because you've only got composite.
Three
Let me look
RCA
at the
connectors, but
article.
it was
There it is. Not Linux,
Yeah,
OS system.
so that's component, not
Yeah.
composite.
we don't have it. That's what we did.
Yeah.
Google's not Linux OS documentation. Oh, we're not.
Didn't you tell me 2 weeks ago that Chrome is not Linux based anymore, it's going away?
I am pretty sure that they're getting away from Linux.
And the reason these guys are stating,
But it may have been the same deal that he's talking about too. I think they're just getting away from all of that. It's all a big mess.
Fuchsia?
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 I don't know how to pronounce it. Don't use my-
Blow it up. Control plus, control plus.
How about, I got another option for you. Let's take this.
Put it in the document reader.
And let's see. I picked up some other crap. Let's see.
Pardon my ignorance,
Google's
but
non-Linux OS documentation, Braxbox open and last.
Okay.
well, Apple has iOS on all their platforms, right?
Mm-hmm.
On everything. And
Oh, not on the MacBook.
That's OS X.
So it's like,
okay, but the Android only runs on phones? You don't have anything that runs on the other? Or does it run on tablets?
it's generally, Android is also on tablets too.
It is.
The Chromebook
It's made
is
for phone.
like Android Lite.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Chromebook's using like, just like a custom, well, right now it's a custom Linux distro.
My brand new Chromebook. I just bought one. It's actually a opti-core. 2 of the cores are dedicated specifically for running Android applications, and it's running in the background. It's running an Android OS. I get notifications on that thing all the time that something in the Android portion needs to be updated and blah blah blah. the Chrome portion, you know, it's still Chrome and it does what it's supposed to do. The Android portion acts just exactly like my phone. Exactly like my phone. And it's the strangest, you know, it's one of those weird sort of hybrid OSs that seem to have done.
Have you tried running Termux on the Android portion?
I haven't tried much of anything on the Android
Try
version.
running Termux on that. It'll get you, that'll get you bash without having to
Okay.
break anything.
I've only ran like a couple of Android apps on it, and it works beautiful. It's like having a dual core Android device. But it's kind of a weird hybrid. They've taken the two and kind of mashed them together and made them work.
So Google is supposed to cough up $9 billion to Oracle. So they're saying that may be
Google can afford it.
$9 billion is probably, you know, get their attention anyway.
Yeah.
They get my attention.
Keep buying and ruining everything. What are we gonna do with this? Sit on it.
Yes, yeah.
Monetize it.
Yeah,
Looks like they're gonna use the Zircon 4. Oh, that was good. I think the battery just went on there. It's blue. There it blew.
Speaking of phones, apparently the Nokia 6, the new Nokia 6 is going to get released stateside. So, yay! And it is an Android Go phone. Oh, not Android Go. It's an Android One phone.
oh, cool.
Yep. So we're getting that one, but not any of their other models yet. Okay, fine. Take it.
Anybody, how many have a Nokia phone? Nokia make phones?
Got
Actually,
Got a Motorola.
Wasn't
We got
Nokia out of,
Motorola.
weren't they out of
Motorola.
Finland starting out Nokia?
Yeah, I think they were.
So like actually we've had the previous model of Nokia 6, but it was only like sold through like Amazon, I think, and they were selling it. But they've been really good with the updates on that one. I think they've been hitting every month exactly since they released, pretty much. So, and their Android is pretty much close to vanilla. So I guess they were pretty much effectively Android One already before they even signed up with Google.
Who what?
I don't think they had to do anything.
Who was it?
What?
Nokia.
Nokia?
The Nokia 6.
Yeah.
All their other models, actually, let's see. The Nokia 2 is actually an Android Go phone, which is like a cut down version of Android, but all of their other phones above, all their other smartphones above that are basically, they're Android, they're very close to vanilla, and they get security updates all the time. So, and they've maintained that since they released that one.
Yeah, that's really my only complaint with with my Motorola is I don't get the security updates as often as I'd like.
We're doing the E4. We already talked a couple of us into the E4.
Mine does, but I have the Android One version.
Yeah. With the last update I got came from Motorola, not from Republic. It was pushed from Motorola.
Tell you what, guys, I'm gonna have to get going. I've got another meeting.
Well,
Glad you dropped by.
it was nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you.
Don't be a stranger.
Okay.
Thanks for conforming to our come
And-
early,
and-
leave late.
And maybe one day we might actually have a presentation.
Yeah.
Possible.
Usually they do have presentations.
Okay. Good enough.
Yeah.
All right,
I'll look
thanks
for
for
the
dropping
email.
by.
All righty.
Good
Thank
to
you
meet
guys.
Nice to meet you,
Take
Rich.
care.
See, the previous one was on Amazon for as soon as it would frickin' load.
Something's changed in my streaming settings too. Now it's saying that I am streaming at 1280p, which is just insane, or 1280 by 720, which is just insane. So I had my stream set a little lower, Now,
Well, I
something has
disconnected.
changed.
I disconnected.
Yeah. No, that doesn't affect what I'm doing. It's just weird. I don't know. I'm going to have to just like
230.
I'm going to take the whole thing and just shoot it. Take it out back and
Give it, put it out of
Well,
his
it's just-
misery.
230.
oh yeah.
What's he doing there?
He's playing.
Playing?
Yeah. He's Vicente. He's allowed to play. It's the audio spectrum.
Okay.
They changed this was a while back, but it's like I noticed they changed I'm still on I'm still on Google's Project 5 phone plan, and a while back they introduced bill caps, which is kind of interesting because it pretty much it adds an unlimited plan on top of the pay-as-you-go plan. So it's like when your bill gets to a certain point, it just caps off, and you don't pay any more than that point, and then you can just keep using data. And right now the cap is about like 80 right now, and which interestingly only puts it like $10 above what T-Mobile's cap is for the equivalent plan. On top of that, like below that, you're still only paying like $10. If you don't get up to that point, you're still only paying like $10 a gig on top of the $20 base. So it's like it doesn't actually kick in until you hit that point. So that's kind of interesting. I've never actually hit that point, but it's cool that it's there.
Yeah. I don't have anything to add to that.
Hey, your
That's-
pay-as-you-go becomes unlimited when you hit this point.
It's actually I kind of almost wish that Republic would add something like that, where it's capped off at a certain point.
Metro appears to be the competitor, the de facto competitor for Republic. And they say the $30 plan is unlimited, where we're mimicking, Republic's mimicking their plan, except that, well, we are limiting their plan, except you can get in lower. You can buy 1 gig, and you can buy 2 gig, and then the $30 plan is unlimited for Republic. I mean, for Republic and Metro. So they're kind of competing with them. Looks like it's their competition.
I've never come close to using my 1 gig of data though, which actually surprised me. I figured I would use that all the time.
I think many providers slow down your bandwidth when you reach some
Yeah.
amount of use, you know.
And Republic, that meant you were dead, effectively. They used to do that. You're done.
They have switched so that core features will still have data, but it would be on the really slow speed, but you're not getting anything else. You're not getting
Yeah, you're effectively not featureless.
Kind of like my dad has something similar, and it's like, what's the difference between that plan and that plan? It's like, well, that plan does not throttle you until you get up to like a crazy point, like 15 gigs or something. Whereas like yours goes up like 3.
I'm on the 1 gig plan just because they almost forced me to do the 1 gig plan, and last month was the closest I've ever come to using 1 gig, and I only had like I think 200 meg left at the end of the month, and that was the closest I've ever come. So using it on Wi-Fi, or using it as it was intended, Republic's whole mantra was use the Wi-Fi and save your data, and if you use it as intended, it seems to work pretty well.
I'll put 500 megs this month. That's it.
Yeah, I've used 170 megs, which is quite surprising.
Like I use
Actually.
Wi-Fi at home, I use Wi-Fi at work, so it takes care of most of it. most places that eat at or
Where you
spend time
get-
at have Wi-Fi.
Where I get in trouble is when I travel.
Yeah.
I get in trouble. I used 1 meg a month ago.
When you're traveling.
1 gig. Yeah.
That's a
And
good
if you're
thing.
careful, you can avoid it. But sometimes, last
Yeah,
time I got
when
in
you're
trouble.
on the run.
You mean international or just?
Just in the US,
Oh, okay.
you get out away from Wi-Fi, if you get stuck at an airport,
Yeah.
you have to pay. I'm not gonna pay, you know,
Too bad. You have to watch out for images and videos and whatnot. That'll kill it.
That's
Yeah, a lot of memory. Yeah.
audiobooks and Get Me and
Yeah, audio books. Text, you just go all day.
yeah.
Nothing.
Kenny's got in trouble, and we looked at what his was, and it was Yahoo Financial. I was like, well, I can see
always
that.
asking for data every time.
Or maybe it's refreshing.
Yeah.
Every time the stock market changes, he gets a thing.
Oh, you need to watch that. It's good that now, at least now you can go to your like usage and see what apps are doing.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
I do like Republic added that call blocker to our phones. And it works beautiful.
Is it by default?
It blocks everything that's not in your book, and then it'll ask you if you know this person or not.
I gotta get rid of my old one, cause I actually have one loaded.
It works good. I think you have to turn it on if it's if you haven't gotten the update yet, then you're going to want to check and get the update.
Freedom Pop's got a 1 gigabyte, unlimited minutes, unlimited text, 1 gigabyte of data for $22.99 a month.
Yeah, I'm paying 20.
That's
That's
about the
that's
same.
about what I'm paying, 22 something.
And the premium 2 gigabyte, $24.99 is unlimited minutes, unlimited text 2 gigabytes for $24.99 a month.
That's not bad.
And
That's about the same.
24 for 2 gigs.
Yeah, it's gonna be, plus tax is gonna be about 25. Kenny's 2 gig, I think he's 25.
the
I-
4
I
gig is
thought they were
30,
charging
$34,
$10.
so $10 more dollars,
I
you get
think
2
it's
more
5.
gigs.
5 for,
34, the premium plan is 5 gigabytes, unlimited talk, unlimited text, and 5 gigabytes for $34.99 a month. Freedom Pop.
The only problem with that is so far I've proven that I don't use data
Yeah.
anywhere near as much as
No. But like you said, when you travel,
that's when you need it, I mean. if
of course
don't
here you
travel,
can upgrade right away if you're on the road, and then,
well, you can from
yeah,
the Republic app too. You just
because you're paying 20 cents a megabyte if you go over.
So you can upgrade and downgrade, they save that?
yeah. Oh yeah.
I don't have a, you don't have a monthly.
All you have to do is go in to manage your account on the
can
off the
change it on the
Republic app.
fly.
And
You don't have to sign a contract.
in the Republic app, just it's right there. It'll give you your options, and then it'll bill you like right then.
Yeah.
Then I gotta remember my password.
I don't know. I've never done it, so I don't know if you need your password or not.
Yeah, you need your password, that's where they hook you. And oh crap, what's my password?
I would rather me not know my password because I'd rather not charge myself more money because I'm cheap.
Yeah, I would, the $22.99 is plenty.
I figured based on my previous usage, of course it was all over Wi-Fi, but my previous usage, I was using 45, 50 gigs a month, and I figured, I would use a gig
Yeah.
in no time, but it hasn't really been the case. It's
I'm still mad at, not Wi-Fi, internet service. Really, $50, really? And
But
$50 and I got 7 meg, okay?
I've got 50 for 55 since I know.
There gotta be an answer for that, geez, that's just, why?
Yeah, they say a lot of countries, they got a lot faster internet than we do.
but it's sponsored by the government.
Yeah.
Government stuff.
Government cheese. I want some government cheese.
Government cheese.
I want some government cheese. Well, I wonder what happened to Frank.
I could try that VS Code plugin for email. Be kinda interesting.
VS Codex plugin, huh?
Yeah, apparently they got one. Someone told me they got one. I didn't know they had one. I heard VS Code Mission was pretty good. Actually, I forgot. Is that the one they made that was Atom based?
I don't know. I know there was. I played with that Atom thing for a while, and I went back to something else. So. It just didn't appeal to me. Of course, I've got it. To me, it seemed like it was a little limited in what processors it supported, and you know, I've got like a crap load of things that are not Arduino.
Okay, now there's one that's supposedly the adapter, but it's very poor ratings. These guys have the ones like we got are very poor ratings.
Well, they're cheap.
Well, there is saying 1080p there.
They're lying.
They got 731 views.
They're lying. They're lying their butts off.
480 standard is 480. Okay. But that one says 1080p.
Well,
That's probably on the input.
it supports 1080p on the input, sure. Why not? They're lying. What's that? That go back up. Go back. Oh, what's that one right there? The
This guy?
Radio Shack HDMI composite.
HDMI to composite converter.
What is that one?
This costs $3 in
It's got
Traders
decent
World.
ratings. It doesn't say 1080 though.
Well, but can you blow that up a little bit?
I didn't know Radio Shack was around anymore.
They're not. Somebody bought them.
What about the power?
Surplus.
Yeah, it's got to get power from somewhere, right?
For the other side?
It's coming from the HDMI. No, that's right. It's coming from the
Converts
Chrome
your
thing.
digital input to analog HDMI to RCA.
Yeah, it doesn't say anything about 1080. Let's go
Does
further
not
down.
work in reverse.
Yeah,
This one is good.
Output
one.
format NTSC 480i.
so it's the same.
That's
Four-
this is not the
480.
1080.
It does no scaling, basically.
And well, thanks to Amazon, they don't filter out. I said 1080. It's supposed to have 1080 in it. They don't.
What's this one right here with the big? It's $24.99. It's the very last one on the screen.
HDMI to RCA. It's
That's got some big gas converter thingy in it.
it doesn't say 1080. There's no hope anywhere. High quality. Works on
Built-in converter. Play HDMI.
High quality will be something new for us.
Think
No,
cable.
cheap is our motto. Remember, not high quality. That doesn't mean anything
Works
for
with
us.
all devices. So if it's converting, if they're trying to do games convert,
You would think it'd be high
people are
definition.
not going to want to play games in low definition.
Okay.
That's right.
Well, let's see. Let's go down to the specs for this device. Okay, and there are the specs up there.
Comparison.
No, that's not the specs.
What? Just a cable?
Well, no, it's got some sort of converter in it. You can see it.
Okay.
Game players would not play in low resolution now.
Here are the QAs. I used it to attempt to convert HDMI to Google TV. It didn't work. Old RCA television. They don't even talk about the resolution.
Wait, go back up. I was trying to read something. Somebody says, I don't have a Fire Stick, but heard similar items do not work with it. So I imagine it would. So it's probably not copy protection, whatever. So it may or may not work.
Does not work with my Fire Stick.
So if the Fire Stick has copy protection in it, wasn't that another issue with the HDMI stuff?
Yeah, we got copy protection is another issue.
So
see, these guys are filtering, and it looks like Amazon is filtering, because the first thing they would say is, what's the resolution of the output? And that's, people have to ask that question. They're filtering, and I don't like that. Allow your older TV to act like a smart TV. Somebody's going to ask about the resolution. That would be the first thing.
I say try your Rabbit. Try the Chromecast with your
Well,
Rabbit.
I'm not going to drag my Rabbit in here every week. Jeez.
Well, no, but if we know that your Chromecast will work with the Rabbit, then we know that that's what we need to buy.
Well, I don't want to buy a Rabbit. We need to find out what in the Rabbit makes it work.
Well, we don't want to buy a rat too expensive.
Yeah.
Well, they're
A rabbit road.
yeah. They're not cheap, but they're cheaper than $250. And if they since he already has one, and we could test it to see that if it works or not.
Analog.
If it works, then we know that it would be worth spending $70
Okay,
for
see,
it.
this one is supposedly get us there.
That's the
but
same.
rating,
It's the same thing that we've got.
rating of, it's got a 3-star rating, 3.5-star rating. So I would not trust it.
It's exactly the same one we've got.
Yeah.
How many reviews is
How was the signal when we
What
you
did
did
you
it?
say?
How many reviews is
It-
that?
41.
We tried to. He tried to split the HDMI again, and it didn't work at all. Your HDMI splitter actually worked better than his HDMI splitter, but it didn't work. This one here, isn't this one supposed to be one of the better ones? This 10 deck HDMI,
That's one?
the last one.
Looks like.
Isn't that supposed to be one of the better? Adapter supports upscaling.
Okay, it's a 4 rating, which is okay. That one should be okay. Okay. Input, okay. Video output, S video or composite. 570 and 480, no. The output.
It's always going to be, if it's composite, it's always going to be 480. It's the upscaling.
Okay, well
or the
this is
downscaling.
supposed to be upscaling, right?
Right. So you need to see if people are actually saying that it actually works or not.
Okay.
If it's a composite output, it's always going to be 480. The scaling portion of it just tricks it into thinking it's something other than it
Okay,
is.
probably what they're doing, they're taking 2 frames, they're making it, I read something about they were actually, you could only run it at half every other frame. Maybe that's what-
De-interlacing it and re-interlacing it and doing all kinds of weird, funky stuff.
Yeah, they could do that.
Yeah. Yes.
That was a convincing yes, not a skeptical, dubious.
Yes.
And
It does. It does.
There is the resolution of the screen and also the resolution of the colors.
Yeah.
Instead of to 56 colors, more colors,
And-
several thousand colors.
And you've got to also remember the Chromecast is also doing some sort of scaling. I proved that with that video that I did in different inputs.
It does intelligently asking the device who is connected.
Yeah. And what resolution to do. It's got to be doing some sort of scaling. Because your TV can only do a maximum of 1080p or whatever.
Okay, so even if we find it, we've still got to crack the HDCP issue. That's the high definition copy protect.
Which I'm not sure that Chromecast actually has that.
Well, it says it does. Chromecast
You have
is
HDMI
fine.
connector?
No.
And usually they are outputs, right?
Yeah. And I don't have one on there anyway, so.
I saw specifically
Easier.
that the Chromecast does HDCP.
Okay.
And just about
Well,
everything.
Wait, the new Chromecast or the old Chromecast? Because we've got an old Chromecast.
Okay.
And I'm pretty sure the old one does not do that, but I won't guarantee that. Because I looked that up too after.
Oh, here it is. If your TV set has the composite input port, you can connect your Chromecast HDMI output to this product on your TV.
There you go.
See 5 more answers. Your TV has S-Video Y, RW port.
That would be your
yes.
that would be your component.
But realize that your video will be downgraded from its 1080p or 4K or whatever you have to 480 composite. The title is very confusing because it throws in
This
upstairs
item
support. This box converts an HDMI signal to RCA.
so it's not doing the scaling then. It's not really doing scaling.
This is HDMI capture.
They were expensive, remember?
You're talking the $200 units, 210.
So in other words, and if you're reading into that, basically it's saying that title is lying, that it doesn't actually scale.
So the details reveal the truth.
I have no idea where it is, but it wouldn't work for what we're doing anyway because it's VGA. I've got an old VGA box that actually does the scaling that I'm talking about, and it's awesome.
The composite 3 RT. This is not VGA. This is.
No, I know. I've got an old box at home that does the VGA. And does the scaling. It wouldn't help us. I was thinking though you might be able to go HDMI to VGA and then do the scaling. I'd have to find that box again. I have no idea where that box is that I've got. I can only imagine that it's somewhere in storage. Probably in the very last box that's
in the corner.
in the
dark.
corner in the dark. Yeah.
That's Flip Wilson, Geraldine, and Killer. Wouldn't that be where it would be?
I saw in this world, I saw HDMI to VGA a lot. You need then a VGA splitter. Go to the VGA there, and we need a VGA capture.
VGA capture, yeah.
But this is cheaper, the VGA capture. But we don't have sound.
Google Chromecast. Use Chromecast
Sound.
with older TVs.
Sound doesn't go in the VGA connector, right?
Right. and I'm still not as worried about sound. I know what you're, yeah.
When there is a presentation and
Yeah,
you
I know
to
it
show
would,
them.
it would be useful, but video's our first worry. We gotta worry about video first. We've got a mic input, so we could still do a mic input. Chromecast AV.
This is to the older TV issue. How to split Chromecast to composite audio and HDMI simulation.
Simultaneously.
Yeah, you could do that too.
Simulation or simultaneously?
Simultaneous looks like.
Chromecast HDMI to VGA not working, so that may not be an option either.
Yeah, it looks like the issue is there's an issue besides the copy thing. Involve using projectors on the HDMI Chromecast and AV output and connected to Sony home theater. It's just not an easy nut to crack for whatever reason. They got the copy protection stuff. There should be a group that you could, BBS that you could go onto and say, hey, this is our problem. What's the issue? How do we solve this cheaply?
Yeah, not see a lot of
Like
groups using that.
there should be.
You know,
We know the solution, but
You know that there's
How
a
much is it
$200
cost?
solution, but you're looking for it cheaper.
yeah, exactly.
They're too cheap.
It's just not worth. It's just not worth spending $200 on it.
What is it?
That's it's a Fido U2.
Oh.
So we need to find a cheap.
Do you need a FIDO login? I didn't even know what it was, so I don't need one.
I got one more spare of this. Who wouldn't want one?
What do you use it
I
for?
don't have it on me, but I got a spare. Right now I use it to get into, well, I got a GitLab instance at work that I use it for,
Okay.
and I use it for my Google account as well.
Okay.
I could see that being
Is a
handy.
key or something?
Since he's a Chrome guy.
I could see that being very handy.
Yeah, I have a spare somewhere. I have to go find it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
What do you want for it?
Just 15.
If you bought
What?
it, if you bought it off the shelf, what it would be, $30?
20
bucks. $20?
I got a few of them.
Oh, do you? So,
Or I got a few of them when I just got them. So.
I will have to remember to put money in my pocket. I usually don't walk around with a whole lot of money.
I happen to have it. If you don't,
Yeah.
you can have it. Really handy, helps me efficient.
yeah.
It actually developed. It's one of those products that Google uses internally. That's usually good guys for using those things.
Ran in there.
How about TV extenders?
That's basically what a rabbit is.
Yeah, exactly. Those are not too bad.
Rabbit's just a name brand. We need to shut down. It's 10 till.
No, we can wait till 5 p.m. Best match, lowest first.
I need to shut down.
Oh, I also found out there's actually a couple sites out there that